There are two groups of people that nobody seems to like: banks and billionaires. This video will discuss how they actually come together to create a pretty awesome system that supports society from the shadows. Let's begin with the first function of banks: redistribution of risk. Imagine a world without banks, and this average dude, average Joe. Joe has a sack of money, and Joe would like to keep that money. But if he were to just stuff that money under his pillow, it'll gradually lose its value over time due to a process called inflation. So what does Joe do? He gets this brilliant idea of investing his money into a mighty skyscraper. This way he'd earn interest, so that his money wouldn't just slowly fade away. But imagine if one day Joe's mom suddenly falls ill. So Joe is in need of urgent cash. In economics, pesky situations like this are known as financial shocks. Since nobody can predict shocks, everybody is at risk when making financial decisions. In this case, all the other investors would only let Joe exit the skyscraper project with nothing or a very small fraction of his money. Since Joe has no choice but to withdraw, he has suddenly made an enormous loss. In comes the bank, who allows the scatterbrain to earn interest and withdraw anytime. More precisely, the bank offers slightly less interest than what you'd earn on your private investment, but lets you withdraw more than if you invest and happen to stumble across a financial shock. In other words, banks help to redistribute and thus equalize risk, a process that is captured in the Diamond-Dybvig model. So as all the Joes start funneling their money into banks, this brings us on to function number 2, maturity transformation. Maturity transformation is where banks receive short-term deposits from the like of average Joe and create long-term loans out of them. The bank will take the sum and lend it out to not-so-average Brienne of Tarth, who has applied for a student loan behind her master's back. Of course, the bank earns interest out of this loan, but with her newfound credit, Brienne of Tarth can now become Brienne of MIT.
Knowledge is power.
The same idea can be applied to assets like houses and mortgages. I can stroll in today, buy a BMW Z4 with a 24-month payment plan because banks allow me to borrow money when I'm young and poor and pay it back when I'm old and rich. This economic process of trading with my future self is known as consumption smoothing. All in all, banks provide credit, and 30% of the economy's spending occurs on a credit card. It allows us to spend more wisely, more frequently, all of which leads to a healthier economy. So where do billionaires fit into this scheme? Well, chances are that all that credit you spend belong to some billionaire. You are able to borrow it because other people have gotten rich before you. Moreover, since billionaires rarely default, they can borrow absurd amounts of money to create all the goodies we know and love today. If Elon Musk wasn't already piping rich, then Tesla alongside its awesome cars and some 45,000 employees would never have existed. Truth is, it's hard to overlook the few nasty billionaires who hide their money abroad, and also the crises suffered due to the work of some unscrupulous bankers. But it's not all bad and it's not all evil. With the right checks and balances, ethical banks alongside rule-abiding billionaires are indispensable. The real world is not a board game of Monopoly. So instead of pointing fingers at each other all the time, let's work together to pave a healthier economy.